it's Michelle, and I've got a jewelry making project for you guys today. We're going to be doing a wire wrapped heart pendant for Valentine's Day. I've got a few seed beads here in red, and they are the nice bright red that has that silver lining on the inside of the bead to make it more reflective, so it's a really nice bright red. And then I've got a couple of charms here that I want to dangle from the bottom of our heart when it's finished, and that's a little heart with a red rhinestone and a little key. I thought that would be so cute. Then I've got a little bell that we're going to hang our pendant from our necklace with, and everything else I'm going to be doing out of the wire. I've got a copper wire here in a 20 gauge. Even something a little thicker, maybe an 18 gauge would be good for this, but you want to use the copper wire or maybe a half hard wire, something that's going to hold its shape for you. I've just got a silver here. Ideally I would have wanted a brighter silver like this here, but this was aluminum and it's not going to hold its shape as well, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this today. And then for our wrapping, I've got a really fine 28 gauge wire. That way it's small enough that we can manipulate that around to wrap and put our beads on. So first of all, I want to form my heart shape for my pendant with my 20 gauge wire, or 18 if you have that, that would be good. And I'm going to get my ruler out here so that I can measure. And I want to be pretty precise in my measuring so that I'm not going to have to cut anything away and have scrap and try to worry about getting that just the way I want it to be. I want to cut 6.5 inches. So I'm going to lay that right at 6.5 and cut that right there. So we've got our 6.5 inch piece of wire, and I'm going to straighten that out. You can use your nylon pliers if you want to, or just your fingers to get that as straight as you can. I'm going to hold it down here and run my nylon pliers straight up it. And that's pretty smooth. So now I'm going to bend it in half and find the very center. And I want to make sure that I keep that pretty much exactly in the center. So I'm going to make sure my ends are lining up, and I'm just going to keep pinching until I get that pretty narrow at the bottom. And then I'm going to cross my wires over and pull them apart. And you can see the more you pull, the smaller you're going to make that loop. And that's about how I want it right there. So I'm just going to give that a little squeeze to flatten that out right there with my nylon pliers. And again, smooth out the two ends on my V here. And as you go along with this wire, every time you pull along it with your pliers, or you bend it, or tap it with a hammer like we're going to be doing later on, every time you work that wire, it hardens it a little bit more. So I think that's pretty straight right there. That's a good starting point. And this is the hammer that I'm going to be using here in just a little while. But right now I'm going to flip it around and use the end to help shape the curve of my heart. And that way it's going to be nice and smooth. And do that again on the other side. And if you want to make your heart symmetrical, you can do that. But I think I kind of want to have one side a little higher than the other. I think I want the left side to come up just a little bit higher than the right side will. And when you're forming the curve and the shape of your heart, you don't want to manipulate it too much. The more you work it, the more little kinks it's going to have in it. So we want to make that fairly quickly and get that shape set. And then make this side a little bit shorter. Just about like that. So now, this is going to be my right side. And I want to take my round nose pliers and I'm just going to come down to the fat part of the shaft on that and start curling that up and make just a decorative loop. And just work that until you're happy with it. And I think I like that right there, just the way it is. So now I'm going to work on the left side here. And I want to get it to where it is slightly higher than my right side. And then right where those are almost just about to meet, I'm going to get a hold of that with my flat nose pliers and bend it straight back. So that it comes straight up into the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and pinch that. Get that as close together as I can right there. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to roll that forward. Because when we wear this as a necklace, we don't want that loop going back against the chest. We want it to lie flat against our chest. And you can kind of do that right there to flatten that part of the heart there where they come together, and then just grab hold of that and twist it until it's straightforward the way you want it. And that, I think, is just about the perfect heart shape that I want. So I'm going to bring in my little jewelry anvil, and what I want to do is, the way that I want to see this when I wear it is going to be my front. I want to flip that over so that the front is laying against the anvil, and then I can hammer on the back of it, and if I make any dimples and marks into the wire, it won't show on the front of our finished product. And hammering it this way is going to help hold the shape of the heart that we formed. It's going to harden the wire a little bit, and if we tap lightly and over, it's going to even flatten the wire a little bit and give it sort of a flat look, and I think that looks nice. And move it around, but I'm making sure that that front stays against the anvil. I don't want to dimple the front of my heart. And I'm going to make sure that that loop hangs off the side of my anvil, and I don't want to hammer that. Just that part there right next to it. Okay, and there we go. It has flattened it out slightly. And if you need to, you can come in and make sure that everything is straightened up the way that it needs to be. And I think that is perfectly the heart shape that I was going for. I just love that. So now we can start wrapping our beads. And we're going to have to handle this carefully. We might sort of bend it out of shape a little bit, working that wire around, but we want to make sure that we don't kink it. If we warp it out of shape, we want to make sure that it's only slightly so that we can bend that back when we're done. So I'm going to get off a foot or so of this 28 gauge wire and use that to put on my beads here. And I'm going to start up here at my loop. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of a tail on this wire so that I can use that to wrap. And I'm going to wrap 1, 2, and 3 times around, keeping my wraps pretty close together. And I'm going to cut off that excess wire there so I can go ahead and fold that end down. Wrap that on over so that it doesn't poke or scratch when we're wearing this. Make sure that it's wrapped smoothly. And I'm going to slide those 3 wraps all the way down to my loop here. Sort of scrunch them down there a little bit. And then I'm just going to start wrapping beads. I'm going to do 1 bead at a time. And with each bead, I'm going to make sure that it lays flat against our wire frame. And I'm going to do 1, tightening with my flat nose pliers. 2, 3 wraps in between every bead, and then scrunch them down, making sure your bead is flat against your frame and laying in the direction you want it. I'm just going to continue threading on 1 bead at a time and lay that on there the way I want it. Wrap 3 times in between and another bead, and keep going until I get that full left side beaded. Okay, so now I've gotten that side completely wrapped, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off that wire there and wrap it on around and smooth out that sharp tip so that it's not sticking out. And now I'm just going to reshape that. And if you want to space them a little farther apart, put more wraps in between, you can do that. It's totally up to you. And now I'm going to get a little bit more of my 20 gauge wire, or 18 if you're using 18 gauge. And I'm going to make a couple of jump rings. And I just clip that everywhere that meets at another loop. For every loop you'll get a jump ring, and all we have left to do is attach all of our little parts here. I'm going to put this through the loop on the top, and then my bell, and close that back up. That's going to hang right like that, and I think that's really pretty. And then I'm going to use my other jump ring here, into that loop on the bottom. I'm going to add my key. Let's see, I'm going to make one more jump ring. And I want to attach that to my little heart charm. And then actually I'm going to make a jump ring for the key also, so that that'll hang in the right direction. And then add that onto that jump ring there. Attach it to the bottom of my heart in that loop that we made. I just love this little heart-shaped pendant for Valentine's Day. You could do this in pink beads as well, or even a combination of red and pink. But I think it's really adorable, and I think it's just perfect for Valentine's Day. So you guys be sure to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of my wire wrapped heart pendant. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a like over on my Facebook page. And be sure to join our Facebook group, Craftie Minds. Also follow me on Pinterest and Instagram. And don't forget to visit my blog. I'll have the links to everything in the description below, so be sure and check them out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.